Coming up, canyon flying in Alaska, how to make a good decision, plus a new partnership to help AOPA members. And hey, it may be January, but we're already counting down to AirVenture in Oshkosh. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Build and flying with the Sonex aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at sonexaircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Redeemer.
Welcome to 2018. Hope your holidays were great. Melissa's on assignment this week. And remember, proper aeronautical decision making can and will save your life, especially in places like the wilds of Alaska. AOPA Editor-at-Large Dave Hirschman takes us along for a scenic ferry flight that could have gone bad real quick.
Sometimes our flights just don't work out the way we planned them. On a recent trip in an Aviat Husky, I intended to fly through the incomparable Lake Clark Pass. It's a jaw-dropping route that connects western Alaska to the city of Anchorage. The weather on both ends of the pass was good, and Anchorage itself was severe clear. But as you can see, there was rain and low clouds in the pass itself. I entered the pass at about 2,500 feet and headed west along the right edge. The highest elevation inside the pass is just 1,050 feet above sea level. There's a 90-degree turn on the western edge, however, and it gets extremely narrow in the middle. If I could maintain at least 1,500 feet and 5 miles visibility, I'd continue. If not, I'd turn around, preferably before reaching the skinny part. The clouds got lower and the rain got heavier as I approached the narrowest part of the route. Looking ahead, it was obvious the weather was getting worse, not better. It was time for a 180, maybe past time. Lake Clark Pass has claimed many airplanes over the years. This Husky isn't going to be one of them. Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
You can read more about Dave's trip in the February digital edition of AOPA Pilot Magazine. It's out now. Well, here's a deal that can improve your situational awareness like Dave may have needed, get you weather information in the cockpit, enhance safety, and save you some money. AOPA and SiriusXM have just announced a strategic relationship, and it means good things for everybody.
We're excited to have SiriusXM as a partner, really because it fits so perfectly with not just what AOPA does for its members, but also as a mission in what we do for aviation. A relationship like one between AOPA and SiriusXM really benefits the average AOPA pilot like me or you, because it allows AOPA to produce more great safety content and training, and just as importantly, to provide opportunities and offers to our pilots that they otherwise wouldn't have.
So here's the deal. Buy any SiriusXM enabled aviation receiver before June 1st, and you'll also get a 1-year free AOPA membership. AOPA members will also benefit from SiriusXM support of AOPA Air Safety Institute seminars, and SiriusXM offers advantages over standard ADS-B data.
Really, the primary difference between SiriusXM and ADS-B is the delivery method. Our service comes in via satellite to the cockpit, which eliminates altitude limitations and line of sight restrictions. So in other words, a pilot flying anywhere within our coverage area at any altitude would be able to receive the SiriusXM service.
You can find out all the details on our website. Last Saturday marked a milestone in FAA history. The longest-serving FAA administrator departed the fix, and Michael Huerta had some advice for his successor.
You need to approach this job with a fair amount of humility. You do not know, no one without coming here can possibly appreciate the sheer scale and scope of activities that the FAA is involved in on a daily basis. You need to be a good listener. You need to take the time to understand the scope and scale of what we're doing, but listen to the industry.
And Huerta did listen, leading the agency to adopt progressive policies like the refocused compliance philosophy that emphasizes education over punishment, new certification standards permitting non-TSO'd equipment to enhance safety, and of course, BasicMed.
I want to come back to one policy that was probably the biggest thing that our membership has been rewarded by, which is now 25,000 pilots flying under the BasicMed program, which had been lingering out there, as we know, for 30 years, looking for reforms around that. And I want to congratulate and thank the FAA for being responsive ahead of time and participating with this in the spirit of the law.
Well, what BasicMed represented was a great partnership between us and the agency, but also yourselves and AOPA, the whole general aviation industry. What was really, I think, significant was really having very serious and focused conversations about fundamentally what we want to provide are incentives for pilots to take care of themselves. And anything that we could do to make that easier results in healthier pilots and a much healthier system overall. So when Congress moved forward on that, Congress was actually quite responsive to engaging with us in the agency so that they could ensure that if they wrote something into law, that it would actually be something that we would implement.
The AOPA Board of Trustees issued a resolution recognizing Huerta's professional, visionary, and dedicated leadership. He's the first FAA administrator to be so honored. You can see the full interview on AOPAlive.org. President Trump hasn't yet named a successor to Michael Huerta, so for the time being, the acting FAA administrator is Dan Elwell, who had been the deputy administrator. The Air Force Academy grad is a former military and airline pilot. Before joining the FAA, he was an executive for Airlines for America, a leading proponent of handing the air traffic control system over to a non-profit monopoly. And meanwhile, another champion for removing ATC from the FAA will be leaving the political foray. Representative Bill Schuster, chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, announced he won't seek re-election this year. Schuster is the author of H.R. 2997, the bill to give ATC to an airline-dominated organization. But his retirement doesn't mean that effort is dead. Schuster may well continue to push his pet project until his last day in Congress. As we mentioned earlier, one of the significant accomplishments of FAA Administrator Huerta is the integration of safety-enhancing non-TSO'd avionics in legacy airplanes. One example is the new Garmin GFC 500. The autopilot just received STC approval for Cessna 172s and 182s. The GFC 500 has a number of safety features, including a level button, along with overspeed and underspeed protection. It also is more affordable than traditional autopilots, costing just under $7,000. Garmin expects more airplane models to be approved soon. The GFC 500 is shipping now. Hey, it might balloon up and down like, well, a student pilot on short final, but Bitcoin is working its way into the aviation world. Cubcrafters has started accepting the cryptocurrency for payment. That's right, you can now buy an airplane with Bitcoin. When we come back, a first test of the Cessna Denali engine. And feeling chilly this week? A video from Osh to warm you up.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back. Pretty soon you could be seeing a new Italian airplane at your local flight school. Vulcan Air recently received FAA type certification for their V1. The V1 is set to compete with the staples of the flight training industry, the Cessna 172 and Piper Archer. The V1 looks similar to a 172, but with its constant speed propeller, claims better performance and costs $100,000 less. And GE is celebrating a major milestone for their new advanced turboprop engine. The new engine just completed the first test run. It uses advanced technology found in GE's commercial jet engines, increasing performance and efficiency. As GE's Brad Mottier told us a few months ago, the engine is unusual in its use of additive manufacturing, aka 3D printing.
About 30% of all the parts in the engine are made using an additive manufacturing process. That's where we take powdered metal and we sinter it with lasers and we build up a 3D printed part. And so we have replaced 855 parts. If you were going to build this engine as a conventional manufacturing engine, it'd be about 855 parts. We've replaced with 12.
The turboprop will power the new Cessna Denali, which is expected to fly later this year. You may be familiar with the Flights Above groups on Facebook. They started several years ago near Seattle with flights above the Pacific Northwest. That group grew rapidly, and so has the entire Flights Above movement. Now all 50 states are included. It's a great way to connect with pilots in your region. Find yours at flightsabove.org. Sometimes something good can come from tragedy. 5.5 years ago, a Cherokee and Bonanza collided over northern Virginia. The Bonanza pilot and his flight instructor died. The Cherokee pilot survived. Because both aircraft were flown by NTSB and FAA employees, the Canadian Safety Board investigated that accident. The widow of one of the pilots was determined to help other pilots fly more safely. She helped fund a new Air Safety Institute collision avoidance seminar.
It's something that started with my husband's passing and realizing that education and awareness are the most important things to help pilots become better pilots, and this was a wonderful opportunity for what you do that made me feel like I really wanted to be a part of contributing to the efforts that AOPA Safety Institute really thrives upon doing.
Mrs. Gardella was there for the inaugural presentation of the ASI collision course. This seminar will be offered in some 20 cities this year, and it's through donations to the AOPA Foundation that the Air Safety Institute can offer free safety information to all pilots.
We thank Ms. Joyce Gardella. People like her are the unsung heroes of the success we're having in general aviation in driving our accident rate down. People like her that donate to safety, and when tragedy hits them, they think beyond themselves and think, how can I prevent this from happening to somebody else? We're so thankful for those people.
You can find out more about the Air Safety Institute seminars and the AOPA Foundation on our website. It's that time of year, time for college students across the country to head back to school for their spring semester, and many aviation students are headed back to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. The Liberty Aviation program has grown over the years and now has over 400 on-campus students. AOPA Live's Josh Cochran has the story about how Liberty trains their students for success in the industry.
For the students at Liberty University's School of Aeronautics, it's about so much more than learning to fly.
We're like just a big family.
The focus is on the students as people, not just as pilots.
We're not just a flight school where we're teaching students how to fly, but we're teaching them in all aspects of life.
We have intentionally developed a curriculum that looks at the person with an intent to develop a person of character, of values, and to develop their leadership skills and their mentorship skills.
Liberty wants to see students bring the skills they learn into the industry.
When I say leaders, I mean someone who can go out into the industry and into the world to be a difference maker. Someone who can recognize the need for change.
Faith is also a huge part of the student experience.
We really work with the students in developing their faith and their ability to become disciples of Christ and to disciple others.
Liberty believes the focus on character sets their students apart.
Industry leaders have come to us on a regular basis and have told us that what they really desire, even more than great pilot skills, are people of character and people who have leadership skills.
The program focuses on excellence, and the students train in new Cessna 172s and Piper Seminoles with G1000 panels. Now is the perfect time to study aviation. The pilot shortage means there's an abundance of opportunities for students right out of flight school.
We've had recently students who graduate with their degree 1 week and are handing me their letter of resignation as an instructor pilot the next week because they've been offered opportunities to fly with 3 different regional airlines. Right now is a very unique opportunity in history, quite honestly, in aviation.
In Lynchburg, Virginia, Josh Cochran, AOPA Live.
In addition to teaching students how to fly, the Liberty College of Aeronautics also has degree programs for aviation administration, maintenance, UAS, and more. And finally this week, as we get back into the swing of the year, there's a lot to look forward to. I think most pilots would agree one of the highlights of their year is AirVenture in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Well, Whitman Regional Airport just put out a video from Osh that will make you look forward to it even more. These time lapses are from aviation photographer Jessica Veruda. She spent much of last year's AirVenture gathering these images. And what an incredible perspective. See the whole video on Whitman Regional Airport's Facebook page. And if you're curious, only 193 days until Oshkosh. But hey, who's counting? And that's it for this week. I'm Tom Haynes. We'll see you next Thursday for another AOPA Live This Week.
Meet the pilots who fly with AOPA Insurance. They love flying and saving money, just like you. At AOPA Insurance, we understand how you fly and provide the coverage you need to keep on flying. Call for a free quote and see which AOPA insurance plan is right for you.